One out there. I am so happy to be back. Took a little time off last week. Just a little spring break time with the family. Some a little bit with the kids, some a little bit with the husband. Just one of those things. Had to take some time for self. So I'm really happy to be back with you guys and to share some, special little tips with you. I understand that times are a little bit hard out there right now, so I wanted to have this little check-in in reference to budgeting. So I know right now, there's lots of things that's going on in our government that's trickle effect to everything else. I mean, I've had so many friends and, different colleagues and things that I talked to recently about how these government changes are affecting them. And finances are really hard for lots of people right now, considering people are out there losing their jobs, and the people who are losing their jobs obviously have to find other sources of income. Then we have others that may have depended on government contracts and things like that. So it's just one of those things where right now it's hard times for many people. And it even affects my business as well. My students are making money, then how are they going to pay me, right? So it's one of those things where we're all connected. Believe it or not, regardless of what your beliefs or disbeliefs are, we're all connected. And times like this is what helps us understand that. And we get to see that firsthand how much we are alike in many ways, although we have some differences. So, if this is your first time joining the channel, I'm Mrs. Trouble, and I'm so happy to talk to you guys about things that's going to help you stay in tune with your firearm use and just help you be comfortable overall. So, welcome back to those who have already been here before, and I appreciate you joining back in. This fine Wednesday afternoon, I mean, I would be outside talking to you guys, but it's a little bit on the nippy side. Somebody tell Father Time or whoever might be in charge of the weather, it's spring. Hello. Let me get some warmth in the air right now. I feel a little bit on the nippy side. So I appreciate you, Michael. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, hey, hey. Today, again, let's really focus in on this little check-in today now. So our goal today is just to help you guys find some budget-friendly ways of staying in tune with your firearm use through this tough budget-friendly time, right? Or should I say budgeting time, not budget-friendly. Um, so my thought process is all about repetition. When it comes to firearm use, I can't stress enough how important it may be for you to get regular practice. While going to the range obviously is the option that we all want, right? But that just might not be something tangible within your reach at the time, given though we need to kind of strategically plan how we're spending our money and focus on some of the more important things like how we're going to live, how we're going to eat type thing. So I understand you're not spending so much money in the gun community right now, but if you already have a firearm out there, you still need to maintain practice. So when you're at home, there are some budget friendly options. So the number one thing is doing dry fire. So if you're not familiar with that term, what that means is you're making sure that your firearm is unloaded. And once you've verified that your firearm is unloaded and you've moved the firearm ammunition away, then you can go ahead and begin to squeeze the trigger. And squeezing the trigger is just going to give you some good repetition about how this firearm feels in your hand, how the trigger feels when you squeeze it, things like that. So when it comes to keeping up that repetition, doing dry fire is going to be probably the most practical, more realistic things that you can possibly do, and the most inexpensive. So while there are other tools out there, it's so many. We'll get to that soon. And Mike, I'm so glad that you do that. I appreciate you doing that dry fire often, because honestly, I'm pretty sure you see a big, coinciding difference when you're going to the range, or even if you don't go to the range often, the fact that you do dry fire at home, when you go to the range, you won't really miss a beat. You're not really missing so much in between there, just the recoil, right? So, but you still have the fundamentals of making sure that you can control that trigger, and you're making sure that your sight alignment is great. You're also making sure your grip is really good. Now, it might be a little hard to keep that grip if you're not familiar about putting certain pressure in certain spots when you're not having any recoil, but when you get to the range, then eventually you'll be able to piece that piece together, and you'll know that you're losing your grip, and you'll start to work on how to keep that grip. But at least your sight of alignment will be great, your gripping will be great, and you're squeezing the trigger, controlling that trigger is going to be awesome as well. So that's honestly one of the tools I definitely want to talk to you guys about, Michael. Michael, you definitely put that out there. That laser bullet is awesome. I absolutely love that. That is one of the first tools that that Dee gave me to practice at home. So, you know, and we used this quite often when COVID first happened and the ranges were shut down. Y'all remember that, right? I mean, everything was shut down. And oh my gosh, it was like taking water from us at that point. So we had to find different means of keeping up our firearm skills in the home. And that was my favorite tool to use. So I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But when it comes to that dry fire, you want to make sure you use the wall as a target, of course. And you can pretty much aim at something. It could be a little nail head on your wall, or you know, it could be a certain part of your blinds, all types of things like that you can use as your target. Or you can actually hang a target up on your wall. And so you can also do a dry fire drill that's called the penny drill, where you would actually put the firearm, well, put a penny on the top of your firearm as you're holding it and you squeeze the trigger. The goal is to make sure that the penny stays up there, that it doesn't come off. So that'll be a great drill for you to actually practice. And I do have another video that you guys can check out that I talk about different drills, and the penny drill is on there. Definitely explaining that a little bit more in detail. Now, the safety precautions of dry fire is pretty simple. Just making sure the firearm is empty. Obviously, you want to double check that before you begin to squeeze the trigger. But we still don't want to lose any of our safety precautions. So we still want to make sure we point the firearm in a safe direction. And we don't put our finger in the trigger until we're actually ready to squeeze that trigger. So dry fire also can help with you having those safe practice habits, because it'll keep you having good repetition. It'll keep you familiar, but not so familiar that you forget the safety. So when you are practicing, make sure you practice correctly so your brain can absorb that muscle memory, and it will be more of a muscle memory for you to keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're actually ready to squeeze the trigger. And then, of course, having good control over the gun as you begin to squeeze the trigger. Now, another tool that you can use, we were beginning to talk about, is that laser ammo. Okay, so that laser bullet is really cool. I know I've found so many options on Amazon. I'm not going to promote a certain brand, so because I can't tell you how many other brands are out there, and I haven't reviewed enough to actually give you my personal insight on different ones. But what I can tell you is the one that I currently have looks like this. I wish I can show you guys what this looks like in the gun and how it operates, but I can't because YouTube doesn't allow me to handle real guns while I am live. So unfortunately, I cannot show you guys that right now, but the way this operates, it has like a little laser. And when you begin to, well, first of all, you will put this in the cartridge. You would not put this, I'm sorry, in your chamber. You put this right in the chamber area of your firearm. You would not put this in the magazine. So you put this right into the chamber, you close your slide, and you can go ahead and squeeze the trigger. And in doing so, you should see a laser pop up. Now, there are multiple types of lasers out there, laser bullets, that the laser stays on the entire time. I would recommend that you guys get the laser that when you squeeze the trigger, then the laser comes on. And the reason why is because you just don't want your eyes keep darting to what type of laser you're projecting on the wall or to your target, okay? I want you guys to keep your eyes lined up on those sights, and your vision will just immediately catch that laser as it comes on and comes off, okay? Now, there are some tools out there that goes hand in hand with those laser bullets, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. But just making sure you guys, you know, shop around, look at the reviews and see, because there's so many different brands out there. And again, I'm not going to put out their brand because I haven't tried enough to give you guys my expert opinion on them. But I can simply say that this was a great, valuable tool. It does usually operate by battery, as you guys can see right here. This particular one that I have takes 3 little batteries there, and that's, you know, it works really, really, really great when it comes to that. So when it comes to reloading ammunition, some of us have problems with loading ammunition into our magazines. So I found a really valuable tool to be a snap cap. So you have these snap caps here. They come in various colors. So mine's just happen to be this color, but they have various different colors of snap caps, and they come in all types of calibers. So it doesn't matter what caliber firearm you have, you should be able to find a snap cap or dummy round, some people may refer to it as. And they're pretty inexpensive. They really are. They're honestly, you can get a pack of them for less than $10. So when it comes to that, it's really inexpensive. The lasers are also somewhat in the inexpensive realm as well, somewhere between like $20 to $30 price range, depending on what brand it is that you're looking for. So you can see how these can be really inexpensive tools because you only have to buy it once and then you have it. And so you can keep practicing with that same material and just get better and better and perfect that skill. So remember, shooting is very much like a sport. When it comes, well, it is a sport rather. When it comes to sports, it's all about repetition. So the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And having these type of tools, you'll get better and better at using them. So the one thing about the snap cap, just keep in mind that when you load this into the magazine, you rack the slide back, your snap cap is going to go into that chamber area, and when you squeeze the trigger, you're not going to have a projectile. So nothing's going to go through your barrel. If anything, it's just going to stay there, and you're going to have to rack it back for you to take that snap cap out. So keep in mind that this is a really good drill for you to practice racking your slide back if you have issues with that. Or if you just want to practice, what if you have a jam type of scenario. So those are really good tools for those type of drills. Thanks so much, Global Glock, for joining again. I appreciate you being here. Fun fact, let's see what you said. People use snapcaps because the firing pin. And exactly, you're right on that. Because dry fire is not good for some guns, mess up your firing pin. Thank you so much, Global Glock, for that reminder. Definitely, he's exactly right, you guys. There are many guns out there that do not function well with dry fire. It can damage the firing pin, as Global Glock was explaining. And what I would tell you to verify for your firearm is to look at your owner's manual. The owner's manual usually comes along with your firearm. If you've bought your gun used, maybe you don't have the owner's manual, and that's okay. You usually can go onto the manufacturer's website and get you a digital copy or have them to mail you a paper copy. So usually you can find that owner's manual pretty easy. You can also probably just Google, can this particular firearm do dry, or can I do dry fire with this particular firearm? And you usually can find that information quite easily. But in all else, if you are concerned about it, and you're not sure, you can always use those snap caps. And again, they're really inexpensive. You don't have to keep buying multiple ones. So that's the benefit of them. And then of course those drills. Find those different drills that works good for you. If you want to practice making sure that you can clear a jam in between shooting, this would be a good tool to use those snap caps for. And again, if you are having problems with racking back your slide, so for those who may not be familiar with that term, but just pulling the slide back, some people have a problem with doing that. And so having those snap caps in between shooting, dry fire drills with the snap caps, that's a good tool. So when it comes to the whole thing about, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to verify here. When it comes to those laser ammo, they do have many different systems out there that will bring up things like, again, I'm not condoning any particular brand, but this just happened to come with the one that I had. But you can see how it does different things where you have different systems that can track on your phone based on, how you're shooting with the laser ammo. And so you can find some really inexpensive apps and things like that that are specified to help you track your where your laser is landing, your accuracy, and your trigger pull. So those are things that you can use, and they're pretty inexpensive. I did find some systems that was like somewhere between $50 to $100. I found some that was less than that. So you guys just gonna have to shop around and kind of see which ones have great reviews and what people are saying about them. But I do highly recommend some sort of shooting simulation of some sort to be able to help you in home. And once again, the benefit of this is you buy it that one time and you don't have to keep buying it. Now, I don't know if they have monthly subscriptions and things like that, but the thought process is to be budget friendly so we don't have to keep spending money like we do keep spending money on ammunition. So when it comes to, let's say you do have a couple of coins to spare and you can make it to the range, but maybe not as much as you used to, you might want to consider doing things like buying in bulk. When you buy in bulk, you'd actually save quite a bit of money. I like to buy in bulk my targets and my ammunition because those are the things that I'm going to use often, 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 often. And I end up saving so much money by doing things that way. So you can definitely check out various sites that would provide those options, or you can go into the stores sometimes and find great options on bulk supply ammunition. Now, if you are a person that already has these things set up, or you made a budget for it, you might consider reloading ammunition. That also is a saver in price after you've gotten the right technology. And I can't stress enough about how much important it is for you to get the right information about it. You want to be knowledgeable and educated before you take a step out there and just try to do a DIY. I'm going to make my own ammunition. No, you need to be properly trained on that. But if you do have the time, the money, and the education to put into that, that would be a long-term goal of being able to save some money to reload ammunition. Now, when it comes to the airsoft guns, the CO2 gas, pistols and things like that, those are some good things to think about as well. The airsoft and the BB guns, all those type of tools right there would be great too. So you'll have a little bit of recoil with it. So not only can you focus on your sight of alignment, your grip, your squeeze of the trigger, you can also focus on maintaining the firearm's position while having the recoil. So those are some pretty great tools, and they may be a little safer to shoot in your backyard versus in the home when it comes to some of those tools. Now, you also may find in your area, it could be a range that is for airsoft. They might be a little bit less expensive than actually going to a gun range. So you might have to do some price comparisons there too. So again, all thinking about, budget friendly and what is your pockets looking like. I'm not trying to be in your pockets. I don't want to be all up in like what's in your wallet, right? I don't want to do any of that. But I just simply want to say that, you guys know your budgets and you know what things works for you and what doesn't. So use whatever options you can and just constantly get that repetition. That's where it's going to matter the most anyway. So your dry fire, whether it's with snap caps or not, your laser ammo, whether you have it with the tracking app or not, these are all great tools. And if you have the capacity to get a shooting simulation system, some of them can get quite expensive. I have some, so I can definitely tell you some of them gets quite expensive. But some of them are pretty, mediocre in price. And then, of course, when it comes to those drills with those CO2 cartridges and things, you got to keep buying the CO2. That doesn't cost a lot, to be honest with you. So once you have this system going, it's usually not that bad, but definitely less expensive than going to the range. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk to you guys about is making sure you have repetition about taking the firearm out of the holster. That's something that a lot of us maybe miss, especially going to the range. Some range locations don't allow you to shoot from the holster, some do. And so when it comes to that, you have to be mindful of getting that repetition to practice too. So while you're at home doing those dry fire drills, it'll be really great if you can pull your firearm from the holster as well. Get a good sense of exactly where the gun is, exactly how your hand can reach there. And if you do like a deep concealed kind of, carry, then you definitely want to get that type of practice because you want to be quick, got to be fast. All of this is no point if you're not going to be fast about it. So when it comes to the whole thought process behind the type of drills that you're doing, you also want to get in mindset of preparing your family in case you have a home intruder. A lot of us grew up, talking about, oh, what we do if we have a fire, and this is kids, this is where we go, and this is what we do. Well, we kind of need to have that conversation with our family about if we have a home intruder. Okay, not saying that you should give your kids guns. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just simply saying you and whatever other adult in your home that's responsible enough to handle the gun, y'all need to decide who's getting the gun, where's the gun located, and all these type of things. And then the kids, where the kids are supposed to go. Like, what is the plan of action? You need to have two, I would say two or maybe three plans. So if you want to color code them, if you want to ABC them, if you want to 1, 2, 3 them, doesn't matter. The point is that you and your family had this conversation about if we have a home intruder, this is the plan of action that we should be doing. get a good understanding of that. And you can even go around your home and without having any ammunition, you can do little drills about like where can you hide behind, get a little cover, and still be able to aim and shoot. You can do things like that to scope out your own home so that you're familiar in your own environment of places that maybe a robber or intruder, whether may not understand and know because it's their first time in your home, but you should know your home like the back of your hand. And that's how you do that, defensively thinking in that mindset. When it comes to that movement and cover at home, you want to go through the whole process of pulling from the holster and aiming and squeezing the trigger. You want to put all of that together, not just bits and pieces of it. So that's why it's important to make sure that the firearm is already unloaded. And if you want to up that, you can put some snap caps in your magazine and expel some of those, just acting like you had a jam, type of situation. Of course, my final tip is always education. So I can't tell you how much education is going to benefit all of this. I mean, you're here right now. We're here together doing a little check-in, getting our knowledge on top of things. And there's plenty of resources and tools out there, such as some of the other videos I have. I know I have one about firearm drills. So I do have one that talks to you about different drills and how to actually perform those drills. So you guys can go back to the channel and check that out. But then you also have another tool that's a little bit unorthodox, I would admit, but if you have an Oculus, you might have the benefit of going into the virtual reality world and going to Trouble Defense VR range. That's a great tool for you guys to keep practice because in that range, you'll literally get to be able to line up sights. And so you can definitely check that out. You can also check it out in the mobile app as well. So Oculus, download the Oculus mobile app and you can access Trouble VR range through there. But if you have the Oculus headset Quest, you would actually be able to pick the gun up and shoot it well. It'll be a little bit more practical for you. But Trouble VR range in the Oculus Meta Horizon worlds. So that is something I would totally recommend all of you guys to do. Lots of fun. We have great music going on there. You got ping targets there too. And if you are really competitive, you might want to have a little competition about who can keep the highest score. We have a leaderboard there as well. So that's another great tool to kind of help you stay, on top of things. You're familiar with the gunshot sounds in that area. You also get the repetition of lining up your sights and being accurate. So while having fun, while relaxing, having fun as well. So that's what I have for you guys today in this little check-in. I look forward to seeing you guys again very soon in the next few days. And hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the week. And somebody tell the weather outside that it's springtime, okay? So we can get this spring rolling. I'm ready for warm weather. I'd rather be outside talking to you guys than indoors today. So I am so excited that I saw you guys today, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Don't forget to press that like button so others can know that this video is worthwhile. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and press the notification as well so you can be able to stay up to date with all of the lives and videos that we have coming out soon. See you guys shortly.